When you think of the deadliest interstate in America, what comes to mind? Maybe I-95 in New York, I-70 from Denver to Grand Junction, I-5 from Reading to Medford. All of these interstates are notorious for being stressful and dangerous to drive on. But what if I told you the deadliest interstate in America wasn't going through the mountains or the biggest city in the country, but rather through central Florida, in a relatively unintimidating stretch of flatlands between Tampa Bay and Daytona Beach? This interstate does not seem dangerous or deadly at first glance, but it has taken 1.13 lives per mile just in the 3-year stretch between 2016 and 2019. And a portion of this road is so dangerous it's been nicknamed the Dead Zone. Today I'm going to talk to you about I-4 in Florida, the deadliest interstate in all of America. Before I get into that though, I wanted to take a quick moment to talk about the newly released channel memberships, a way you give back to the channel if you appreciate the videos with a few extra perks added on. I wanted to quickly go over the tiers and tell you guys what's going on. So first we have the $2.99 tier, giving you access to members only GeoGuessr videos, as well as private Discord perks and members only polls and questions. Second, we have the $4.99 tier that gives you access to a private GeoGuessr league that we will be competing in as members. It also gives you sneak peeks to future videos. Next, we have the $9.99 tier, which gives you access to the monthly State of Geography post where I talk about what's going on in geography world and something interesting I want to talk about. You also get to vote on future videos and get your name put at the end of every video. There's also the $25 tier if anyone has a lot of money lying around and wants to support the channel. I'll go out and say that this money is basically all going into my savings, so if you like the videos and want to support me as a person, memberships are the best way to do that. Thank you very much, and on with the video. So to know why I-4 is so dangerous, you need to know exactly what it is. The first segment of Interstate 4 was opened in 1959, with the full interstate being completed in 1965. It runs 145 miles from the Gulf of Mexico to the Atlantic Ocean, starting in downtown Tampa and going through Lakeland and Plant City into Orlando. It runs right past Disney World and all that stuff, and then heading straight through the downtown. Making its way northeast from there, it goes through Dayland and Tiger Bay State Forest, then ending near the Daytona International Speedway. So that on its own sounds relatively fine with nothing to worry about. But there are some reasons you may be thinking about that would make this interstate so dangerous. So let's go over the major reason this interstate has taken a sad toll of 150 lives in just the last 3 years. Number 1, traffic. This is obviously the one everyone would think about. But I-4 doesn't have the same amount of traffic as some of the other large interstates, so why would it be worth mentioning? Well, as I said before, the highway was completed in 1965, meaning Florida had a population of just over 5 million, just 1/4 of what the state is at today. This interstate was built to accommodate the Florida of 1965, meaning the standards of this road would not stand a chance against what was about to happen in the future. Everyone knows with the suburbanization of America, Florida quickly became one of the fastest growing states in the country, gaining almost 2 million residents in the next decade, and another 4 million in the decade after that, doubling the population of the state very quickly. The interstate was already way behind what was needed to accommodate the new traffic in the state, but the growth didn't stop there, and Florida became the 3rd biggest state in the union. With Florida continuing to grow at the rate it is, I-4 has been set up for failure ever since the start, and has been traffic ridden for the last 60 years. Now obviously Florida can't just sit there and watch this happen, so they were forced to try and expand the interstate to fix this problem. But as many of you know, first of all, expanding a freeway doesn't work as well as people think it does. But second of all, by the time they added more lanes to the freeway, it was yet again too small for the growing population. It's continued like this since the start, with new lanes being added everywhere along the 150-mile stretch. But, as most of you are realizing, a new problem was created by all of this, that being construction. Pretty much the whole time I-4 has been opened, construction has been going on throughout. Almost everywhere needs improvement on this highway, so the construction has been going on pretty much year-round for as long as it's existed. And as anyone who has ever driven through high-traffic areas under construction knows, this is a recipe for disaster. Sadly, the improvements on the highway has probably taken more lives than it's saved, and I-4 is in the perfect condition to become one of the worst interstates in the country. But that's not all, because to make it number 1 on this list, something else needs to be stirred into the soup that is this 145-mile stretch of freeway. When you have an interstate that's set up in a way that is perfect for constant traffic and accidents, sending people onto the road that have never been there and don't know what's going on is the perfect recipe for absolute disaster. Everybody wants to go to Florida, with Orlando being one of the biggest tourist destinations in the country. This interstate runs right next to the areas you will find the most out-of-state drivers in all of Florida. Almost all of these tourists are using I-4 to get to their destination, making almost constant traffic of a bunch of people who don't know how the road works. It's exactly what nobody wants. But somehow, this isn't even the most dangerous stretch of I-4. That comes in Tampa, near the I-75 interchange in the state fairgrounds. As it goes past the interchange, the highway is at 3 lanes instead of 4 lanes. Now, this is already one of the highest traffic zones on the interstate, so making it less lanes than usual results in a dangerous stretch of roadway. Another dangerous area is going through Lakeland and Plant City, where there's just a lot more traffic than people would think. All of this area is 3 lanes, but has more cars than most 4-lane highways. Now, to start this video, I mentioned a portion of this interstate deemed the dead zone. This is actually one of the least dangerous stretches of Interstate 4, but people seem to be scared of it. Back in the early 2000s, it was rumored this area was haunted. So in 2010, the ECFRPC performed an analysis to determine if this zone had an increased fatality rate. Being compared to other portions of the interstate, it was found that though this was one of the least dangerous stretches, the fatality to accident percentage was way higher, meaning that the likelihood you would die if you get in an accident is much higher here. Now, Florida is aware of the problem that is I-4, and they're working as hard as they can to fix these problems. Deaths have decreased slightly in the last 2 years, but most believe this is because of less traffic due to COVID. In 2012, Orlando started working on the $2.4 billion project dubbed I-4 Ultimate. This would reconstruct a 21-mile stretch of I-4 in Orlando, adding express lanes and tolls in between Highway 425 and 434. The main problem with this project was that it would involve even more construction in an already high traffic zone of the highway. But still, it was completed and opened just a couple months ago in March 2022. To this day, construction continues on lane expansion projects, and in all likelihood, the interstate will fall victim to the vicious cycle of construction. I-4 is the deadliest interstate in America, and if you ever have the ability to avoid this highway, it could be a life-saving decision. Thanks for watching.